Hi everyone. In today's video we have a handle with a button. What's attached to the handle, you might ask? It's a lightsaber. It's long. It's very, very long. So long it goes all the way to here. Well, it's not really an indicator of length, is it? It's an LED work light sold for the automotive industry as an under bonnet work light. A lot. It's rechargeable and no longer charging. And we're going to pop it open and see if we can make it work again. My guess is that the battery pack has given up, but it might be something a little more involved. Lucky you if it is. Okay, we're going to start by removing the rubber over the end, the handle itself, and that just slides off with a little bit of encouragement. There it goes. There's the switch. And you can clearly see the control circuit there. In the end is the charge connector, which looks like it's seen better days. That should be solid plastic all the way around there, with that mounted in the middle, so that to charge it you pop the cap off the end of the thing and poke your charge, put your plug in there, and that makes it somewhat waterproof. Yeah, so we'll now that that's broken, I think we should be able to get that out, and I'd say the guts of it just slide out straight from that. Let's have a look. Or we can reach inside and try and pull it out with some pliers back. They may have even glued it. It looks like they have. Okay, we'll have to chip away at the glue. I don't think it would be extremely tough glue, but there's just a little bit right down there on the PCB against the side of the tube. So let's scrape that off. Oh yeah, it's just quite a soft glue. Get under it and scrape it off. Is there any on the back side? No. Alright. Gently does it. I've probably glued it at the other end as well. Let's pull off the cap at the other end and see if they have. Now there's no glue holding the other end on, so I just had a thought. Being a plastic tube, if you squeeze the top and bottom, if you call that the top and bottom of a circle, there, and you will see that it elongates the sides out and it becomes more oval, and I'm just seeing to see if it pulls away from the circuit board inside, and it looks like it is. So it looks like the glue, at least at this end, has broken free now. So I'm going to see if I can shove it through from maybe the other end. Instead of trying to pull it, I'll push it through. Okay, we'll give it a push from this end. That's still fairly tight in there. If I give it a bit of a squeeze while I'm doing it, maybe it'll release it. No. Alright, maybe we'll have to get rough with it. Okay, what I'm going to have to do is really lean on it, and because it's probably going to have to go halfway down through the tube, I've got a nice long piece of pipe here that I'll just stick that down on top of the board, and I'll have the other end of the tube sitting on the edge of the bench for support, and just push down through there, and this pipe should be long enough to follow it most of the way through, because I'm thinking it probably would have to go about halfway before it's easy enough just to pull it through, but we'll see. Right, let's see where the battery is at the moment. Okay, I'm at the on-off switch. It just kind of got stuck on there momentarily, so I just have to push that past that. It's not really feeling any looser as I go. Okay, there's really no need to pull it all the way out. We just need to access the circuit there, and the battery, which is one hell of a long battery of, yeah, obviously stuck. What, I got 1, 2, 3, 4 cells stuck together there. Well, the circuit seems very simple. They've got the input side here with the charge connector. Your battery comes in here. Protection diode, and just a basic control, couple of transistors for controlling the charge to the battery pack, and then the power switch, and a constant current driver for the LEDs. And this little LED is your charge indicator, let you know when it's charged. I believe they plugged it in and it wasn't charging either, so I don't know what voltage this accepts. I'm going to think it's 12 volts, but we'll wind it up nice and slowly and make sure that's the case. I'll check that there's actually voltage on the battery pack as well, and perhaps we can simulate a battery pack in circuit by just connecting the power supply up where that goes in and seeing if the lights work anyway, because there could be another issue at hand here. And today I'll be using a crappy $10 multimeter because my good one is currently in a box. And we check the battery voltage is at 4. Good to know that there is something on there though. We'll put some power into the charging jack and see if it draws any current, and if it tries to go any higher than that. Okay, well, we've got 5 volts going in and the little light's on, but it probably need a bit more than 5 volts, so it's only drawing 60 milliamps. We'll just pop that up a little and see what happens. Oh, it's just jumped up to half an amp at 6 volts and then dropped off. And it's gone green. Oh, I must think it's alright then. Certainly half an amp is plenty. I would to charge up a pack like that. Maybe 6 volts is our magic number. Okay, I've disconnected the charge, and I'll just hit the power button and see if it does anything. Not a sausage. That's definitely on. So let's see if we can follow through the voltage path and find out where it's not going. Okay, so we've got positive on this side here, and that goes across to the switch and out to the supply for the LEDs. Negative comes up and along and just travels right out, as common to all of the LEDs. And the drive to the LEDs starts here, which is through that large resistor. So we need to find out first if that switch is working and if the power is going through the switch. Now you can kind of feel when a switch is on. You can feel it stick up a bit more sometimes. In this case you can. When you push it on, it certainly sits down in there, so that's on. If we go from negative to, obviously there, we're going to have 4 volts on that side, and this side we should also have 4 volts, and we do. So we need to trace that through and find out why we're not getting power out to the LEDs. Do we have any power on the LEDs? No, we've got nothing there, nothing on that side of that resistor. And what about the other side of the resistor? Obviously, that's on the other side of the switch, isn't it? So make sure we got that right. One very low resistance. Am I reading that wrong? Looks like green. Oh, it's not open circuit anyway, so it's hardly going to be that's the problem. And then we have a couple of transistors which what are they doing in the scheme of things? That is interesting. I thought that would be a constant current source for the LEDs, but it goes through the switch and through the switch, which is it's rather damaged. Okay, I think I've found our problem here. Now, keeping in mind we said the plastic end piece had been smashed that the charge connector screws into. I guess this thing's had a hard life, and if we I just noticed the switch solder joint was sitting up a little high. If you see that there on the left side, it's sitting up a bit higher than the right side there, and if we flip it over, you can clearly see it's come away from the PCB and ripped off the trace with it. So that must have been smacked rather hard. I shall push that back through and resolder that. Now I think my initial test for voltage there was probably a bit misleading, to be honest, because when I checked the voltage on the other side of the switch, what I did was, and this will show this, I had power on the switch, and that shows up as 4 volts, and then I said there was none on that side of the resistor, but what I didn't check was the other side of the resistor, which I should have checked, but instead I assumed that the trace went to the switch, and I just said, yeah, there's 4 volts on that end of the resistor. So yeah, there it is, a break in the PCB. Let's solder that back down and see if it goes. Okay, well that's secured back down now, and I had to scrape off the green coating on the tracks so that I could solder that back on. I was going to put a wire link in between, but that would not be strong enough. It actually uses the solder to the board to hold the switch in position as well, so there's a little bit of mechanical stress going on there every time you push the button. Yeah, hopefully it'll stay in, and the only other thing I can think of to improve the design is you could drill a little hole either side and put a bit of wire through and wrap it round on top, and that would help hold the switch in place. But that should work for a while there, I think, as long as they're gentle with it. So let's see if that's actually going to work for us now. Right, here we go. Oh, that's bright. Woo! Jeepers. That's really bright. That's a lot brighter than I thought it would be. Excellent. So there's the fix. Nothing really special to gain from that, but obviously when there's physical damage involved, one must look further to make sure that it hasn't obviously done any further damage. Yeah, nice. So bright the camera doesn't like that. Well, look at that horrible line effect. Anyway, let's see if I can get it back in the tube. Well, I guess the video technically doesn't end there, because we still have the problem of the broken end piece where the charge connector lives, and without that repaired you're not going to be able to plug it in to charge it in its originally designed fashion, at least. Anyway, so let's look at trying to fix that, shall we? And this is the end piece. I've just had gluing. It was split right up the sides, so I've put a bit of super glue in there. It's been sitting there for some time now and seems to be holding quite well. Now where it's broken off the end, this was solid right across here, and the whole thing was smashed out, and it's quite jagged around that edge there. So I'm thinking if I glue a piece of plastic on top of that and cut it to size and drill a hole in the middle for the connector, that should work quite well. So so I've got a nice flat even surface. So I'm just going to flip it over, and then I can glue a piece of plastic across there, and that should do nicely, I think. And I was looking around for spare bits of plastic, and I thought I was having trouble trying to find some, actually, because I had a bit of a clean up and don't really have much room to store a lot of junk, unfortunately. But I have here the lid off a aerosol of well, it doesn't really matter what it's off. It was but it's a lid. It's a fairly flexible plastic, but if I cut a piece out of that, I think it might work well. It'd certainly be better than nothing. So let's cut a piece out and see how that sits on there. Right, so I think probably the easiest way will be to glue this onto the little disc I've cut out of the top, and it does overhang a bit, but once it's glued on there and dried, I can trim off the overhang. That'll give me a reference against the side of the piece there to get the near enough size so that it fits on the end of the tube. I think that's probably the easiest way for me to do it. So yeah, just hit the edge of this with the super glue, and mind your fingers, because it will stick to everything. Cyanacrylite, wonderful stuff. You don't need a lot of it, and this stuff sets with the moisture in the air, sets it off. So a little bit of huffing on it with your breath It certainly doesn't go astray when it comes to speeding up the process. That looks good. I'll just put a little bit more on there for strength, because we can. Now we'll just flip that over and let it set. And I'll pop a bit of weight on that just to hold it together and help it to set entirely. I've got a nice lead brick and that's makes a great weight for that sort of thing. Okay, so the glue didn't take, but I don't think that's really going to matter, because it's going to be sitting hard against the plastic ring there, and when the end cap there is over it, it's not going to move that direction either. So yeah, I think that would be fine. The only problem I can think of is that if the charge plug rotates, may spin it around and it could snap the wire off the socket, but yeah, probably unlikely, but you never know. It's one of those things that could happen, but hey, you know, it's an easy fix, and if they look after it, it should go a lot longer. And there's the finished product, all back in position. Wow, super bright. Thanks for watching.